Okay, 8.2, we're going to talk about the area of circles. The formula is a equals pi times radius squared. And if you don't remember what radius squared means, it's just that you're taking radius times radius. So you do a equals pi, or 3.14. I'm going to write that up there so you remember that, times radius times radius. So radius times radius is the same thing as radius squared. So how do I remember this? Here's my little trick. Apple pie really rocks. And as you can see, we've got our R's, our pi, and our A. So that is how I remember the formula for area equals pi times radius squared. 1A, find the area of a circle. So I have my formula, A equals pi times radius squared. And I have my diameter is 20, so my radius is 10. So I take A equals pi times 10 squared. And 10 times 10 is 100, so I take A equals 3.14 times 100, and that gets me 314 yards squared. Circle it, and that's my answer. 1C, find the area of the circle. So I have A equals pi times radius squared. So I take A equals pi. My radius is 8, and I square it. So I take 8 squared, which is 64, times pi, and I can use the pi button or 3.14, just like what I talked about yesterday. And the area is 296 hundredths meters squared. I circle it, and that's my answer. 3A, here we get a lot trickier. If the area of a circle is 78 centimeters squared, what is the radius? So if I have my formula, A equals pi times radius squared, my area is 78. I'm going to write 3.14 for pi, just so I remember that that's a number I know. And I need to get this variable by itself, not myself. So I divide by 3.14. What you do to one side, you must do to the other. Remember, our ultimate goal is to get that variable by itself so we can know what the radius is. And when we do that division, we get a long number, so we round to the nearest hundredth. And I get 24 and 84 hundredths equals r squared. Now, this is new information. To undo a square, you do a square root. So if I have 9 squared, I get 81. If I take the square root of 81, I get 9. So it's the opposite operation. So I'm going to do it to the 24 over 84 so that I have r completely by itself. So I take square root of 24 and 84 hundredths. And when I do that, I get 4 and 98 hundredths centimeters. And that's my radius. Okay, 3A was a lot of information. You may want to watch it again just to understand how I got the radius, because this is going to take it a little bit trickier. We have an area of 58 centimeters, and we have to find the diameter now. So we take our formula, A equals pi times radius squared. We plug in our area of 58 equals 3.14 times radius squared. I divide by 3.14, and what you do to one side, you must do to the other. And we get, I keep forgetting my 1. We get 18 in a long decimal, so I round to the nearest hundredths. So 18 and 47 hundredths equals r squared. And as I talked about in the last video, to undo the square, or not the last video, the last slide, we take the square root. So I take the square root of 18 and 47 hundredths, and I get 4 and 29, actually, yeah, it's really, if I round to the hundredths the correct way, it's 4 and 3/10 equals r. And then, if that's my radius, I double it to get my diameter. And so my diameter is 8 and 6/10 centimeters. I circle it, and that's my answer.